Hello friends, welcome to Abandoned Places channel and enjoy.
I beg you to watch this video till the end. Share, like and comment. I will answer everyone in the comments. You are like a big family of train fans to me. Who knows where the trains are, or have you ever ridden them? Please share with me in the comments. It is very important to me. Well, let's start. The Ghosts of Steam. A journey through the rise and fall of locomotives. The birth of giants. When steam ruled the rails. The first steam locomotives chugged to life in the early 1800s, revolutionizing transportation forever. George Stephenson's locomotion number 1825 and the famous Rocket 1829 paved the way for an era where steam engines connected cities, fueled industries, and shrank continents. By the late 19th century, these iron beasts were everywhere hauling goods, passengers, and even the hopes of nations. Steam locomotives became symbols of power and progress. Names like the Flying Scotsman and Big Boy entered legend, their whistles echoing across valleys and their soot staining the skies. For over a century, they were the heartbeat of the Industrial Revolution. The slow death of steam. Why the world moved on. By the mid-20th century, the golden age of steam was ending. Diesel and electric trains arrived faster, cleaner and cheaper to run. Railroads made a cold, hard calculation. Steam was obsolete. 1960s, 1970s. Most countries retired their last steam locomotives. Scrapped or abandoned. Many were cut apart for metal, but others were simply left where they stood in remote yards, forests or forgotten sidings. Nature's revenge. Without maintenance, rust, rot and vegetation consumed them. Boilers cracked in the cold, wood cabins warped, and wildlife moved in. Ghosts of the past. What remains today? Abandoned steam trains now sit like mechanical skeletons, each with its own story. Train graveyards. Some rest in mass burial sites, lined up in eerie rows. Swallowed by nature. Others are hidden in forests or buried in sand, only discovered by urban explorers. A few lucky survivors were restored as museum pieces or tourist attractions, but most were left to decay, their brass fittings stolen, their steel slowly returning to the earth. The future of steam. Will they disappear forever? What happens next to these forgotten giants? Continued decay. Most will keep crumbling until only rust stains remain. Rescue by enthusiasts. A few more may be saved by collectors, but it's a race against time. Digital immortality. 3D scans and VR could preserve them virtually after they're gone. Legacy in pop culture. Films, games, and books keep the romance of steam alive. Steam trains were more than machines, they were monuments to human ambition. Now, they're fading ghosts, reminders of how quickly progress leaves things behind. But as long as explorers document them and storytellers keep their legends alive, these iron titans won't be forgotten. What's the most haunting abandoned train you've seen? Share your stories before they vanish forever. Blood on the tracks. The first steam train disasters that changed history. Progress always demands sacrifice. In the age of steam, those sacrifices were loud, bloody, and however cruel it sounds necessary. 1. Trevetik's Monster, 1804, the first accident before trains even existed. A quarter century before Stephenson's rocket, Richard Trevithick's pioneering steam locomotive was already claiming lives. What happened? The boiler of the primitive Penny Darren locomotive, 1804, exploded during trials, injuring 2 workers. Aftermath. Trevithick was accused of negligence, but the real consequence was a 15-year delay in steam locomotive development. Irony. Without this disaster, George Stephenson might never have been forced to reinvent safer locomotives from scratch. 2. The Aten disaster, 1828, the first passenger death. On the 15th of July 1828, George Stephenson's own locomotion number 1 killed one of its creators. Fatal mistake. Engineer William Huskisson, who helped build it, stood on the footboard when the train derailed at full speed. Gruesome details. The boiler exploded, scalding passengers, but Huskisson died instantly, his skull shattered on the rails. Legacy. This crash forced Stephenson to invent the first brakes and safer couplings. 3. The Hartford Hell, 1853. How boiling water cooked 21 people alive. The deadliest early steam disaster wasn't caused by speed, but by corporate greed. Cause. An engineer overloaded the boiler with cheap coal to make up time. Pressure tripled beyond safe limits. How they died? The first explosion tore off the cab, throwing the engineer into a river. He survived. The second explosion launched the 6-ton boiler into passenger carriages. Escaping steam boiled people alive in 30 seconds only, those thrown into a swamp survived. Impact. This horror led to the first boiler safety laws and mandatory inspections. 4. The Ghost Train of Chillon, 1861, the crash that never was. The most mysterious steam disaster was never investigated because no train or bodies were ever found. Legend. During a storm in 1861, a train with 150 passengers allegedly plunged from a bridge into Lake Geneva. Strange facts. No railway company reported a missing train. 19th century divers found no wreckage. Locals still report hearing a whistle underwater during storms. Explanation? Likely a mass hallucination. Early diesel sounds in fog mimicked ghost trains. 5. The Disaster That Saved Thousands, 1876, the Philadelphia Exhibition Explosion. On May 8, 1876, America celebrated its centennial until a steam engine exploded in front of the president. Technical failure. A burst valve, but the real crime was placing the boiler above the cap to save space. Unexpected consequences. 12 died, including the engineer. His head was found 650 feet away. The design was banned forever, leading to modern safety valves. Epilogue. The blood that fueled progress. Each disaster seemed like the end of steam, but became its driving force. 1841. First speed limits 40 km per h after a UK crash. 1858. Mandatory boiler inspections after 7 explosions in a year. 1890. Automatic brakes invented after a train crushed 78 people at a station. Modern trains are safe precisely because their ancestors killed people in the worst ways imaginable. Subscribers, friends, and viewers, thank you to everyone who watched to the end, liked, wrote a comment. I really appreciate it.